Hey guys, welcome to Until Then. You're seeing our mic check right now.
Mic check.
And now that it seems to be working, Taryn's giving me a thumbs up. We might as well just stay on. Are we good to go?
I believe so. It hasn't quite kicked to live on YouTube.
Okay.
The delay, even in my headphones, is pretty substantial.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's about 30 seconds or so. If you think we're good, I'll just go ahead and just mic off because you're going to screw yourself over. Or mute the YouTube channel.
Oh gosh, it was just becoming a loop.
Yeah, I would get reverbs that way. But anyway, now that you've seen some behind the scenes stuff, my name is Peyton Guthrie. To my left always is Nick. We are totally in our True Detective suits today. I'm in gray, Nick's in a very stylish hipsterish black and purple. Look at that, it's nice. Who are you wearing tonight?
I'm wearing Corey Williams tonight.
Corey Williams,
yes.
That's a nice man. If you haven't heard of it, it's probably because it costs too much for you. But anyway, we're doing something cool. We're going live with our True Detective review show on Until Then. First of all, I would like to say the struggle's over and the show's done, so I don't have to deal with that anymore. But I think we'll do as our normal ritual. Nick, just take it away and tell me what we thought.
I think, like I said, I always like having the whole picture to finally assess the situation, assess the damage, maybe per se. And I think the comment I will finally put on this season of True Detective is, I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It was flawed, but I enjoyed
Extremely.
it. And I think a lot of it stems from the writer Nick's main intent with the story, and I think what he was reaching for, and maybe he put a little too much weight on what he was doing. A little bit too big of a load for him.
Yeah.
But I got where he was going. And I think a lot of the complaints that people had about the show with the convoluted storyline or the plots going on, not being able to remember, it's just a real game of guess who of villains
especially at the
on.
end.
But I think the point that he was trying to get across was that this is such a huge scope that our heroes were essentially just already screwed over from the beginning because of all the different interplay going on between this person and that person. There was really never no way that they were going to make it out clean and get them all taken care of and fix the city of Vinci.
Yeah.
It came to a head, I think, in the train station scene when he was discussing with the chief of the police, and then the revelation that one of the kids, while he was sitting behind them, I'm even further into the wormhole, that there was this other thing going on that was kind of like, oh my gosh, I can't take this many plot things. But I think that was the point he's getting. He's like, this thing's so deep, there's no way you can dig it out. Yeah. But I think that he, again, might have overwhelmed himself a little bit.
That's what I'm thinking too. I mean, even when I'm now thinking about this in first season, the first season is now starting to come out in a much brighter light to me, because I personally didn't really like the first season that much as it was critically acclaimed, but it was a more simple, contained story that allowed it to stay on track. I really think with writers, you need editors. Yeah. And if you don't have an editor for a writer, no matter how great they are, everything kind of gets bloated, and you had to do a 90-minute episode to address every single thing. They even address like whose mask that was, like some of the stuff we didn't need to know. Yeah. Just tell us the story.
Well, it's that the common, conflict of an auteur, a creator, and wanting to keep his vision intact versus having that other mindset. You look at the best example, George Lucas, his first trilogy of Star Wars, he had people kind of on it, putting the thumb over and being like, you got this much money, get somebody to direct this, having different voices telling him, you have to do it this way, you have to do it this way. And then the prequel trilogy comes out and he has full control. You see behind the scenes that people treat him almost as a deity. And so it's good to have that sense of, no, you shouldn't do that. I think that the blue balls line just needs to be taken out, George or Nick. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's just...
So you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it was rough. I mean, there's parts of it, like I was talking to a friend, I really thought it was going to be like a Deus Ex Machina. They were going to find some piece of evidence which fixes everything. And what they found was like the opposite. It was like a Deus Ex Machina demon or something. It was like something showed up at the end just to fuck everyone over. Yeah. Like Frank dying because he didn't want to take his suit off. Yo, if you have me in the middle of a desert and you say take the suit off or I kill you, I'm taking the suit off. You can have it.
I did notice in the second view though was that his diamonds were in the jacket.
Oh, that does suck.
That could have made him held back a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Because the first instinct I was like, take off the jacket.
Yeah.
It's no, but you're home free. Take off the jacket. But then I was like, oh, he has the diamonds.
Yeah, I missed that part. I just got so upset.
But
I was like,
it wasn't delivered properly. Like they should have had him kind of maybe. They needed a visual there to help us understand that, because again, how much was going on, to remind us. By the way, he's got all these diamonds hiding in his pocket.
Yeah, but, which was 3.5 million.
Yeah.
But what's more important, he seemed that farewell speech and stuff kind of seemed, if he could have gone out, he should have got out. Yeah. If that makes any sense. Instead, greed just. I guess greed, yeah. I guess his downfall was greed.
The ending, the whole setting in L.A., it follows a long tradition of L.A. noir, and noir is rarely,
doesn't
the
end
bright
well.
side. Yeah, it's never hunky dory. And I mean, you look at classic examples like Chinatown, and it falls right in line with this season. It's that all he can, he thinks he's got it fixed, and then it all blows up in his face. Because of the enormity of the situation that not even he's completely aware of. You can see that almost visually at the end with the cinematography, which I thought was really good at the end, between Colin Farrell's character being out in the tall woods, just the enormity of it all is kind of surrounding him, and Vince Vaughn and just alone in the desert wasteland. Yeah. There was a lot of visual storytelling they were doing there, which I really enjoyed. Yeah. So.
And I guess both of our male protagonists died due to their major flaws. I mean, which it kind of sucks that Ray's major flaw is that he loves his kid, but he's got everything down, and he just goes to see him again. That was it. And I guess actually that's something I should be more trumpeting over, because I do like shows and movies and stuff like A Peek Into Me. The Dark Knight Rises, I think, is a horrible movie because of how it ended. I mean, I think Batman should just die. If you build the entire movie around him saying he needs to make a sacrifice, he hasn't given everything yet, to then just, no jokes, I'm still alive, I'm in France, super hot chick. Like, there wasn't something that was actually there, In this one, both guys died for what they stood for. Frank stood for his greed. He was a good guy, but greed's what brought him down, and Ray stood for his kid. And it's sad he died because of that. He's a bad guy, basically, who died for a good cause, and Frank's a good guy who died for a bad cause. I mean, they're a good juxtaposition. It just kind of sucks.
And even though the show kind of ended on a sour note, it really actually ended with a sense of hope going on. When Andy revealed all the evidence and stuff to the reporter, it kind of left that sense of things might go well. Speaking of Dark Knight Rises, it had that kind of montage of this is what's happening after everything's said and done, but then it showed Andy going, this is all yours now. You do with it what you will. Yeah. I'm out.
And especially when she said, "I have to do right by his sons." I was like, "Boom, called it, knew it." And she has, Ray's kid at the end, which she has to raise in Venezuela. I think it's Venezuela, wasn't it?
Yes, I believe so.
We think so. We'll get Stat Guy to check that.
Some Latin American.
Some other place than here. So that was kind of interesting. I didn't like how. I guess I didn't quite buy that ending to a certain degree. Okay. It kind of felt like season 1 ended. It was over, They did the thing and it's done. They closed the case. This one, the case was never closed. They only found out who killed Casper, by accident, on luck. Then once they find out who kills Casper, it's like, oh, no one cares about that. Yeah. And that's what everything started off. And they didn't make a big enough deal about that. But it ending with the whole 2 girls walking out, one's got a baby, it struck me kind of strange. Yeah. And I think Nick really took. I mean, you can tell about how this show's gone. He took a lot of criticisms to heart about the feminist stuff in the first season. So you can tell it's like, okay, I'll kill every single male lead and leave only the women alive, which is what he did. And I just didn't. I think it felt like a shortcut to get to that end. I think that ending could have been fine. I think Annie and Jordan being the only ones left, and Nels being the only one left, could have been a great ending. I think he ended up taking a shortcut to get there. It was all very convenient, the exit to go see his kid being right there, right as soon as he gets off the phone. You know, it was all just a bit convenient to me personally. And all the bad guys, they all got it.
Some of them died, some of them didn't. And a point that was brought up when I was reading this morning was talking about the mayor's son who became the mayor at the end. He only has like really realistically 2 minutes of screen time in the entire season.
And a good 2 minutes though. He was very good.
Yeah. And it's just it's one of those things where like this guy was obviously a large factor in all of this, and he only got like this much screen time in a giant pond of
same thing with set photographer guy.
It's one of those things where it's like in the first season when the reveal came, spoilers, that the lawnmower guy was the killer. Like it wasn't the beginning of the season. It was about, I believe it was in the middle.
You see him a few times and he's kind of a thing, but not a big thing.
It's comes are there. With this, it's like, okay, we threw it at the beginning, and now, oh wait, remember that thing way back there? Yeah, that was it. And you're like, well, okay.
It's the same thing. It's that twisting thing, and it's like a book. Like the set photographer guy got like what 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes of screen time. Yeah. I'm assuming in Nick's version of this, when he's writing it all down, he's like 50 pages probably, in
his head.
But on screen, that gets all condensed. Like the same thing, Game of Thrones and stuff. You can't see what everyone's talking about, and you can't explain everything. You have to show people stuff, and showing stuff, 1 second of film is like a couple of pages on the on the couple of words on the what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about.
Words.
Everyone talks too much. Just words. I think that's what's words.
What do you think about
Shakespeare? Words.
Acting. Now that we've seen the complete work the entire season, did you enjoy? Are the less likely to succeed Vince Vaughn and Taylor?
I thought Taylor. Now they both have their own issues, obviously. Taylor's part was an issue of character. Yeah, I think he was a little two-dimensional. He was either very angry. He was just kind of angry all the time.
Brooding. Most of them were brooding, but his was on like you said, on one note level.
I think his last couple scenes were very good. When he's on the phone call saying, "Hey, I think I'm about to walk into something," you got to finally see some of that weakness. And and the times when he's waking up from his friend's house and his bike is gone, he's screaming and stuff. When you got to see behind the anger, you got to see a lot more. And he actually fulfilled that character out, kind of fleshed him out. You just didn't get to see a lot of it. And part of that's because you got five or six different storylines all happening at once. So it's kind of hard to really dive into a character on this kind of ensemble piece.
He's one of those actors that, they've tried to push him for forever.
Yeah.
He hasn't quite connected, or his films have flopped. And when given a big leading role, he hasn't came off as the charismatic lead type. So a smaller role like this, we kind of saw that he's capable of doing a decent job. Maybe not leading man type, I would say. I think his support roles fits him really well.
Yeah, and I think that could have been the issue, is that you had a whole bunch of supporting actors in this show. Yeah. As much as I love Colin Farrell and his things he can do, he's not a leading man. He has too much character. Now it's not in the. See, for Taylor's thing, Taylor's spot on. For most leading men in Hollywood, you need to be kind of this blank, faceless person, unless you're Chris Pratt. For the most part, the stuff happens around you. You're not the guy who's driving everything. If you look from Bruges, he's great in that movie because he's not asked to be a leading man. That's, to me, is his best movie because he gets to be a character. Usually leading men aren't characters. They're the things that stuff like Jon Snow. Yeah. He doesn't get to do a whole bunch because all this stuff's happening to him or around him.
Because the colorful people are around him.
Yes, yeah. And I think Vince Vaughn's the same way. I don't think he's a great leading man, but a fantastic character actor. Season 1, you had a leading man. Matthew McConaughey stepped up to the plate almost out of nowhere. I mean, if Dallas Buyers Club hadn't come out a couple months before season 1 started, no one would have seen that coming at all. And he really proved that I can carry this. I don't think any of the characters written for season 2 allowed any of the actors to step up to that plate.
I think the two that stood out was, in my opinion, was Colin and
Mhm.
Rachel McAdams. I think
Colin was solid all the way through, from beginning to end.
Colin was one that was all the way through, and showed she had more to provide, more to show us than just Mean Girls and Notebook.
Yeah.
That cliche type. She was able to kind of go against type and play this very tough, tomboyish to an extent girl. But there were layers underneath that because they all started with the same cliche: the gangster, the troubled cop, the tough girl cop. But then they were able to flesh it out a bit with each other.
To some different stereotypes and cliches.
Into a cliche. They mixed the cliches. They all met together.
They did.
And traded.
I think those two were the best, just because they were given more. Those characters were given a little bit more. Well, Frank was given a lot. I think Vince Vaughn did his best. Good job, good effort, type of thing. But I think it was a role that, the more I think about it, seemed a little out of his depth, and also seemed out of his casting. I think someone should. I think maybe he, like the mayor of Vinci. I think maybe that should have been Frank. Because you can't tell me Vince Vaughn, the guy who walks into the room and owns a scene, because he always walks in with this air of confidence, and you got to think, well, that dude scrapped up from the bottom. He's 6'4", handsome, got everything together. Like I didn't buy that whole pulled myself up from my bootstraps part of him. He already seemed like he had everything. Yeah. Now, a lot of that was obviously bravado, but I think you needed to show something a little grungier. So it's like, someone who's actually had to pull themselves up. And that's opposite. Like Vince and Colin look like leading men. And Taylor, they all look like leading men. But they're all missing something that keeps them from being these big, huge stars,
I disagree a little bit with Colin, but we disagree.
Yeah.
I enjoy his acting. I think he's a great actor.
Yeah.
But I understand.
I think he's a fantastic actor. He's one of my favorites.
It's one of those. He's also kind of like Taylor a bit, where he's done well acting, but his films haven't done so well.
Yeah.
But
I think the only actor in a while that's been able to be a character actor while leading is Johnny Depp, but he went through his cycle, and everyone's kind of like, I'm tired of your shit, Johnny. He's starting to get in some more serious acting and stuff. Of what's that movie, Black Mass, coming out soon, where he's playing Whitey. And then Chris Pratt has been able to be him, basically the same kind of like swagger about that he's got. But most of these leading men shows, you'll see them, they're a little wooden. So it's interesting to see that. It very much so is.
Are you looking forward to a season 3?
Season 3. Now, how this one ends, it seems like season 3 is going to be in Venezuela with Jordan and Annie, because it didn't end like definitely to me. It seems like maybe we could be following the reporter which would be actually very interesting to see how that type of life is. I don't think I trust Nick writing that story. I think if you're HBO, you have to bite the bullet. I think if you're HBO, you have to bite the bullet, and you have to do season 3 with the parts of it saying, okay, Nick, season 1 worked, and it got a lot of critical acclaim. Season 2, we did it your way, and a lot of people didn't like it. So season 3, we're going to go back. We're going to put some people over you. We're going to control it some. And if he can take that hit to his pride, I think season 3 can be back and do well. But I think if season 3 bombs, it's done. But HBO is now competing against Netflix because they've made HBO Go as a standalone streaming service. So they need content. They need to compete against Netflix. So
they need to have
this could be coming out
fall,
a lot.
Spring,
yes.
And summer showing that's going on.
Yeah, it could happen. Now, if Nick says, okay, well, I need 2 years to make it, maybe they just say no. Would you have a year?
It's a question of, do you give him time to round things out? Do you put people over him? Is what you have to find what's the combination that's made it work? Because as far as we know, he could have taken several years to make season 1.
Yeah.
And then
could have.
They loved the script. They said, let's jump on it. Maybe we don't know. Probably need to do some research about that.
Yeah, we should do that.
Probably study about the show that we talked about a little bit.
Well, we're doing hot takes here. # hot takes. Until then.
Where would you like to see a detective show take place? We have not rehearsed these.
No, we have no idea. This is happening live. We're doing it live. Basically, I would like something
Because we've seen the Bayou, which was
We have.
we hadn't really quite delved into in
We have.
television or anything before. LA has been done before, as we've talked about in history.
There's some stuff I like, but it's already been done. Season 1 of The Killing, I thought was fantastic. I think that'd be kind of cool again. I like the idea of the Pacific Northwest and stuff. Another place would be kind of cool would be more of a an actual industrial area.
Yeah.
Because we didn't get to see a lot of the LA part of it. We didn't get to see a lot of what was happening. We weren't in a lot of buildings and around that kind of area. We were in kind of like an offshoot. So that would be kind of interesting. And then maybe like a Midwest town, like a Fargo type of area, something like that. Maybe
I like
in
the
Alaska
idea.
or something would be kind of interesting.
I'd like the idea of a smaller town.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we had, if we wanted to condense the story again, maybe making it about one town, maybe the corruption in the town, or just some murder mystery story, detective work that needs to be done within it, and exposing things that happen often in small towns.
Yeah, I think a smaller story will benefit it, especially because you have 8 episodes. It needs to be a smaller story.
Yeah.
You can't, like again, I've mentioned Game of Thrones. They have a lot of seasons.
Right.
They're not telling one story per season, and that got approved for season 7. So stuff out. But
More power to them.
now that we're talking about HBO's HBO Go live streaming service, and we're kind of off the topic. Overall, I give season 2 kind of like a C. I enjoyed it. There are some points in it. It wasn't the best thing I've watched on TV, but I will say episode 3's beginning with the Kanye Twitty, still like my favorite part of the season. What do you give the season? What's your favorite part?
I'm against type with most of the internet. I'm gonna give it a B.
Okay.
I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed a lot of the cinematography of it, especially this last episode.
Yeah.
It had a lot of great scenic areas to choose from. It's kind of hard not to get a good shot. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed. A lot of people couldn't quite keep up. They weren't. Maybe unlike me, I have all the time in the world to watch these over and over again. So.
And this could have benefited from like a Game of Thrones thing, like a second screen app or something. Game of Thrones has one. It's just like, hey, this is what this dude is, and this is where he's from. That could have kind of actually helped with as many characters they brought in and stuff. So what was your favorite moment this season?
Oh, yeah.
I know you really like the shootout.
The shootout was good. I really enjoyed the train station sequence.
Yeah.
It was well put together. It was different than what you normally see in those type of situations. But the first scene, which kind of put the nail on or just said the season has arrived, when Colin Farrell beats the living crap out of that kid's dad and delivers the line, the line of the series was just the moment where you're like, oh, okay,
stuff's happening. It's real.
We got here.
Let's go.
But that was my favorite moment, probably.
All right. And those are our favorite moments. We've given our grades. Until then, at least the TV part of it will be on hiatus until Game of Thrones starts back up, unless we find something else. Maybe we'll do some movies or something. Just kind of something nice and simple. Until then, the YouTube series channel, you'll start seeing some different things. We have some music videos coming up, some content creator interviews coming up, some tattooing and stuff like that. There'll be some different and interesting things. Until then, this has been Peyton Guthrie, Nick Grohl. See you later.